Civil society organizations have condemned the 44.51% year-on-year surge in cooking gas prices, warning it will worsen poverty, push households to unsafe alternatives, and threaten environmental sustainability. The National Bureau of Statistics reported that refilling a 12.5 kilogram cylinder rose from 14,261.57 kobo in July 2024 to 20,609.48 kobo in July 2025. Joining me for more on this, I have Country Director, ActionAid Nigeria, Andrew Mamedu. Thank you, Andrew, for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Right, NBS has reported this 44% increase in the cost of filling 12.5 kg of LPG, popularly known as cooking gas, from over 14,000 to over 20,000 within the space of a year. How did that come to you, and what do you think is responsible for this hike?
Thank you very much. Like prices of most things in Nigeria, we have an outrageous inflation rate, one that is not healthy for the economy in general and affects the micro level, meaning the households, the individuals, particularly the poor. Currently, our inflation sits at 22%, 22+%, about 22%, and that is not good enough. Now, on top of that, food inflation is a bit higher than that, but worse off is now the price of cooking gas, which is now is reporting 44%. It means that for every for the 100 naira you spent last year in cooking gas, you're spending 100. We are spending additional 40 naira, so you are spending 44 naira actually. You are spending 144 naira equivalent this same time this year compared to last year. What does that mean? It means that families are left with less disposable income. It means that if family follow that route, they would have to give alternatives. So what's the alternative for gone? Economics says that the best alternative for gone. So it's either they are reducing the quality of food, they are reducing their healthcare services, they are reducing amount they have to spend on education, or they are finding alternative to the gas. So they would then resort to firewood, charcoal, and all the alternative that is not healthy and also not good for the environment, basically. So that's the cost implication. So what's the cost implication of this? So it's affecting household. It will make people poorer. To bring more people, drop more people into poverty. So as little as that, so it drop more people into poverty. People that are struggling and trying to make ends meet, of course, will struggle more, and then it will expose our environment, which is not what the federal government is preaching, which what the development community is also preaching about us having a cleaner energy and cleaner environment.
Right. Now, apart from that, let's look at this. I mean, isn't it ironic that, while the NBS consistently reports this inflation, we've seen inflation decrease so much so that in July, we saw it at 21.88% from 22.22% in June. And so while this is going on, essential commodities like cooking gas continue to climb. And then we're looking at a commodity that has a large share in Nigeria's daily, weekly, and monthly food expenses. How do we even explain, this sort of imbalance? And what are your thoughts, really, for addressing these issues?
Thank you. So, firstly, we don't have any business. We're not supposed to have business with this. The reason is Nigeria is one of the highest. We have the highest reserve of natural gas globally. So if we have the highest reserve of natural gas globally, how come we are not able to have enough quantity to serve our country? So Nigeria, we have the NLNG train 1, 2, 3, 4, and the fifth one is being done. We have various initiatives, presidential initiative, NNPC initiative, the petroleum upstream initiative, several initiatives around this. We have the Dangote trying to respond to this. All of those things are coming to place. However, as a date, we still import between 60 to 70% of our cooking gas. So it's at a point, the federal government says we can no longer export cooking gas. We had a law, a policy around that, but it's still not enough. And the reason, so the question is, why is the price still going higher than even the average inflation rate, like you mentioned? And the first thing is, because it's imported, so naturally you would import inflation. So once there is a spike in exchange rate, which is what is happening, if you look at the average exchange rate between last year and now, it's a bit. Then adding the other 20% of the exchange rate we have in the country, and 20% we have in the economy, then that affects the overall exchange rate that is pushed onto the gas, the cost of freight, the cost of insurance. So by the time you are importing all of those, all the variables associated with importing such commodity would naturally come with it. And it's the household that will be responsible for that. The final cost will come down to. So clearly, the question is, how do we get out of it? How do we respond to it? This is not something that has been with us in just 1 year. It is something that has been with us over the years. So if it has been with us over the years, how come we have not been able to identify and deal with it like we ought to? So it is not the responsibility of the household. It's not a problem of the household. It is a policy issue which the government is looking at. It is a regulation issue which the government is looking at. And we are still flaring gas as at date. So if we are still flaring gas as at date, how come we are not reducing or cutting down on the amount of gas that we flare? About 70% of associated natural gas is flared in Nigeria, and we contribute about 3.5% of global flaring costs. Globally, Nigeria contributes about 3.5% of global flaring. And if you convert that, it would give at least 6 million households. 6 million households, to provide them with cooking gas every year. If we convert part of that amount that we are flaring, at least 6 million households will be served with cooking gas every year. So the solutions are there, actions have been taken, but how do we fast track those initiatives?
Right, that's a good question. How do we fast track those initiatives? I would have just asked you, one or two more questions, but we're pressed for time. And I think we had a fantastic conversation, especially when you look at gas flaring, even though we know that the PSCs that are being signed now have clauses to sort of address that, but that is not enough to address the gas flaring issue we're having in the country. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Andrew Mamedu, Country Director, ActionAid Nigeria. Thank you for your time.